Hi, everybody. We're a small group. Can I invite you guys to come to the front? I promise I won't bite. I had breakfast this morning. Come on up to the front. Thank you, guys. Everyone had their coffee this morning? Belly's full? Good. Well, welcome to the Sage Summit. I'm extremely excited to be here. It is my first time here at the Sage Summit speaking. I am a living, breathing millennial. I'm not a robot, but I am a millennial. Does everyone know what a millennial is before we start talking about millennials and all things millennial? Everybody know? Yes? I get the question all the time, Chelsea, what is a millennial? So my definition of a millennial is people who were born in the early 1980s to the early 2000s, people who are roughly 18 to 35 today. And it's kind of a large bracket, 18 to 35. However, that is the case. 18 to 35, I would say between 30 and 35, that's what we call cuspers. So I am a living, breathing millennial. And before we go into the presentation, I just wanted to let you know that I am a millennial. I do all things millennial. Millennials love to collaborate, engage, have conversation. We love to feel like we're a part of everything, whether that's annoying or not. And so being that, that's how I like to roll. Anytime throughout the presentation, if you have a question, please raise your hand right then and there. I don't want to save the questions to the end. I want to feel like this is a conversation. I'm not speaking at you, I'm speaking with you. So raise your hand and they're going to run over to you with a microphone and you could ask the questions. That sound good? Good. Great. All right, guys, so today we're talking about millennial loyalty. Something that a lot of people or generations prior, whether they're Gen Xers or baby boomers, think that loyalty doesn't really exist amongst this generation. However, I really like to defeat that stereotype. And let's get started. So before we begin, a little bit about myself. I am 23 years old. I started working in this industry, especially pertaining to the millennial generation, when I was 16. 16 years old, in high school, public school. I just happened to have a fantastic television production facility in my public school. And I went into TV production, and I was fascinated with all things communications. Writing, producing, directing, being on camera, actually being the camera woman. I loved it. I loved conveying the message to this generation, whatever that message was. And I realized that when I was 16, so this is going back to 2005, there was no word millennial. We were teenagers. Teenagers who were entitled, promiscuous, self-absorbed, and the demise of the future. That was everything that was going on about this generation. I looked at myself, and I looked at all of my friends who were hustling to study for their SATs and their ACTs and only wanted to get into good colleges and knew that they wanted to be a success for themselves. And I said, lazy, narcissistic, the demise of the future, I think my friends are pretty cool. I think that I definitely want to amount to something. So I said, where is the platform for the teenagers to come together, to be empowered, to feel like they're voicing their opinion, asking questions, feeling like they could be loyal to a platform? That didn't exist. And at the time, it's amazing how we've evolved so much within the past 8 years. There were no podcasts, internet radio, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest. There was local AM radio. So I created a radio show called Teen Talk Live on a yellow spiral notepad with my mom over bagels and tuna fish at a deli. And I wrote down topic after topic after topic of what I thought the millennials, the teenagers, would love to discuss. How to get into college, how to nail your ACT and SAT, sexting, bullying, STDs, teen pregnancy, career, becoming a professional, leaving the nest for the first time. So every single topic you could think of was on that yellow spiral notepad. And I couldn't believe the excitement amongst my fellow peers to have a platform that they could be loyal to and that they felt was loyal back to them. Speaking with us, not at us. And that's going to be a theme that's going to resonate throughout this presentation. I thought it was pretty important to tell you a little bit about my journey prior to how this 23-year-old got to Sage Summit and speaking to you guys today. So after Teen Talk Live really started to take off, I moved into television and then into print, working in magazines. And as I coined the term millennial expert, being that I am a millennial and started in the communications industry in my teen years, I started then working on behalf of brands. Brands who were called upon me to be their spokesperson. My first spokesperson opportunity was with Kotex at 18 years old. Anybody work in the feminine hygiene care industry? I worked with Kotex when I was 18 years old, and I've worked with Microsoft, I've worked with MasterCard, Intel, Rotary, TurboTax, Kyocera, BCBG, a lot of great brands. So they call me to be their ambassador, their spokesperson, as well as their brand consultant. How do we attract the millennials today? They're so weird, they're so crazy, they're so different, they're so all over the place. It's just that we beat to our own drum. We're a generation unlike any generation thus far. We are truly digital natives. We've grown up differently than any generation has in the past. And that's definitely going to shape a lot of this generation's attributes and characteristics and the way in which we think. So loyalty. Today in this presentation, we're going to actually talk about workplace loyalty, how to get your employees, your millennial employees, loyal in the workplace, what makes millennials happy in the workplace, but also brands. What makes a millennial attracted to certain brands versus another brand? What makes a millennial loyal as a consumer? So we have a lot to get to in this presentation. Please feel free to ask any question. Are you ready to rock and roll? Yes? All right. What's trending? Being that millennials are so obsessed with social media, I thought it was really important to talk about what's trending amongst this topic, this umbrella topic, millennial loyalty. Millennial memos really just understanding this millennial, this generation, being that we are so different. I think a lot of people have stereotypes on this generation, so we kind of just are very narrow-minded as to what this generation wants or how to appeal to this generation. But being open-minded, being collaborative, thinking innovation, that's how you're going to attract this generation. We're going to dive more into that as well. Job hoppers. Has anyone heard that term before? Job hoppers, job hoppers. Job hoppers. We're going to get into job hoppers, employee loyalty, brand ambassadors, and crowdsourcing. Let's talk about job hoppers. Big stereotype amongst this generation right now. In 2014, millennials make up 36% of the workplace. Again, those are people 18 to 35. So a lot of people in the early age of the millennials, 18, are your interns. Are the people that are trying their hardest to gain all of the information from you and try to possibly land a job out of school, but are also the people in their 20s and their 30s. By 2020, millennials will make up 46% of the workplace. I'm sure you've heard millennials are taking over. We really are taking over, and not in a bad way, not in a scary way, in a way that we make up 80 million people in America. And we're getting older, and we're growing, and we're really shaking up a lot of corporate America today. And things are evolving. I mean, look at this environment that we're in right now. This environment, I walked in yesterday, and I said, this is so millennial. Open, collaborative, social floor. A lot of today's generation is really influencing the way that corporate environments are structured as well. On average, millennials had an average of 6 jobs by the time they're 27. 50% of the jobs lasted less than 1 year. That's a lot of jobs by the time they're 27. Also, a pretty big headache for the HR departments. Why is this, okay? So a lot of people frown upon job hopping because, anybody work in HR? I'm sure you really don't like millennials a lot of the time. It costs about, a lot of companies say between $15,000 to $25,000 to train a new millennial employee. So the fact that we are dropping on average 6 jobs by the time we're 27, that's a lot of money that HR has to spend on training programs. And also the process of looking for new millennials. So why are we job hopping? Is that feeding into the entitled label in this generation? Let me give you this insight. Millennials are the most educated generation ever on the planet thus far. We are also the most jobless generation on the planet. The millennial unemployment rate is about 16%. we're living in a really hard time right now. The recession completely slapped the millennial generation in the face. So, being that we are the most educated generation on the planet, and we know that coming out of school, not only is it a very hard market to get into, with a 16% unemployment rate, but the average student graduating today has $30,000 worth of student loans. The millennial generation is the most overqualified generation in jobs right now that are actually under their degree. 35% of millennials actually took a job because they needed to start paying off their student loans that was beneath their degree versus something that they actually are qualified for. Kind of frustrating, right? I mean, am I getting any sympathy for the millennials yet? You know, and these are things that we don't sit at our Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, whatever your coffee preference is, and talk about. Instead, we say, oh, millennials, they're so hard to please. They're jumping from job to job. We can't retain them. Nothing makes them happy. Well, that's the insight. I mean, the most overqualified generation, 35% of millennials are actually in jobs their first year out of college that didn't even require a degree. And the reason why they're taking these jobs is because they rather earn money instead of just drowning in their student debt. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I think that that really shows that millennials are hustlers. I'm on this mission as a millennial influencer, as a millennial myself, as a millennial who has this platform for millennials who are so dedicated to succeed, who are so dedicated to learn, who are so open-minded, who are so liberal, who are so hungry for success, to change that stereotype of entitled to entrepreneurial. A lot of job hoppers are also doing this. Job hoppers are obviously going from job to job and to rank up the success ladder, to move to a position that's either earning them more money or that they seek more value in, or they're actually more excited to participate within that corporate environment. Millennials are also the biggest generation that's freelancing today. Freelancing because we realize that we have to create our own success a lot of the times. You know, it's the days of working 9 to 5 and staying an hour later and working up the ranks is kind of just in the past. That doesn't really exist anymore. People want everything now. They want everything really yesterday. And millennials, we're such a different breed of people that any Gen Xer or baby boomer who's hiring these millennials may not understand the millennial mindset and not tap into the unique ability that the millennial could actually provide to the corporate environment. Does that make sense? Everyone following me? So these are some of the things that are adding to this job hopper stereotype, this job hopper craze. But don't get scared, don't be worried. There are so many ways and so many things to do within the corporate environment to actually retain and get millennial loyalty, to make a millennial want to work for your company, work for your brand, work for your organization, work for you personally. It's just being open-minded to implementing some change. Any questions so far? Remember that, ask questions at any time. Okay, so being that I'm a millennial and completely obsessed with social media, every Tuesday night, I host a Twitter chat. Has anyone participated in a Twitter chat so far in their lifetime? Yes? No? So Twitter chats are organized interviews via social media, via Twitter. Every Wednesday, I host a radio show. On the radio show, it's internet radio, everyone can listen or tune in. I realized that throughout the radio show, so many people were interacting via Twitter, asking questions to the expert, asking questions amongst each other, but also networking, because it was a platform that had experts who were, you know, if they were interested in the field of nutrition, we had a nutritionist on the show, asking if there was an internship opportunity, asking if there was a job opportunity, or asking advice, being that they were the expert. I was so excited to see this social engagement off of this radio show, because that really meant that millennials wanted more information. That whole thing, millennials don't care, it's hard to bracket 80 million people into 3 stereotypes, entitled, lazy, and narcissistic. There are so many millennials who are couch potatoes. Yes, there are. But then there are so many millennials who are entrepreneurial, go-getters, hustlers, and hungry for information. So I wanted to empower this generation even more than just the radio show on Wednesday nights. Every Tuesday, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we host a Twitter chat. It's 1 hour long. The first Twitter chat was in December. I said, is this even going to work? So in December, I thought, okay, going on a new year, something new, something innovative, something collaborative, something engaging. I'm going to say those words a lot today. I said, what if we asked an expert, instead of having them on the radio show, to be an expert via the Twitter chat, organize questions prior to the Twitter chat, and allow everybody and everyone to engage via their Twitter handle. Our hashtag is Millennial Talk. So everyone who put in on the subject Millennial Talk saw all of the Twitter chat going on throughout that hour. Our first party had over 18 million impressions and over 200 contributors. 18 million impressions meaning how many people attended, how many followers that each person had, how many retweets, favorites, and shares went in within that entire hour. So I freaked out. I mean, 18 million impressions, first Twitter chat, I was just like, have we hit a gold mine here? Because this is proof that millennials want to engage. Millennials want to learn more. They want to collaborate, and they want to succeed. And they're going to tune into these empowering Twitter chats to get as much information as possible to be a success. So, being that I got asked to be here at Sage Summit, I did 2 separate Twitter chats pertaining to the 2 topics here today. I'm speaking on another topic, millennial marketing, at 1 o'clock. So these are some of the tweets that we got from the Millennial Loyalty Twitter chat. What makes you a loyal millennial in the workplace? Purpose has a huge impact on millennials. Job choice more than others. Purpose, purpose, purpose. Value, value, value. Millennials are not as narcissistic and entitled as you think. We really value what we do on a day-to-day basis. We really value the things that the corporation stands for, and we really value the work that we do on a day-to-day basis so much that a millennial rather have a $40,000 salary and feel valued in the workplace and feel that their job is bringing value to the world than a $100,000 salary for a corporate environment that they don't agree with. That's a pretty big difference in numbers. I mean, that's a $60,000 difference. But that's really how much millennials care about the value their work brings to the world. There were some more tweets. Purpose. There were some more. I don't know why they're not coming up, but a lot of the things that I said, it was unanimously what millennials wanted in the workplace, and we're going to get to more of it now. Okay, so what does make millennials happy in the workplace aside from value and purpose? Everybody knows the Facebook like and dislike. Dislike. Don't see value in your work. Work around the clock. Individual offices. Every man for themselves. Scared of the boss. And annual reviews. What they do like. Corporate social responsibility. Has anyone heard of the term CSR? Corporate social responsibility. Can I get a raise of hands every time I ask? Corporate social responsibility. Work-life balance. Group work environment. Mentorship programs, frequent acknowledgement. I'm going to take a second to go through all of the likes. Anyone surprised to see some of the likes on the screen? By a raise of hands? Anyone? Okay, so corporate social responsibility, what is that? The acronym is CSR. Corporate social responsibility is what is that corporation, that brand, that organization doing to impact the world for the better, other than just the day-to-day business that they have to do to obviously earn an income. Microsoft is an amazing example. MasterCard is an amazing example. They take the time to create corporate social responsibility outside of their corporate structure to make the world a better place, or to attract the millennial, to be in tune to the millennial. Microsoft is always giving back. MasterCard did a great campaign. Anybody work for MasterCard sitting here? So I work for MasterCard. I absolutely adore MasterCard. And they do things that are really innovative, really fun, and get the millennials engaged in a credit card, in something plastic. I mean, it's obviously very important. We need credit cards to make some purchases, but it's not something that you think would, it's not a brand necessarily that you think a millennial would be excited to talk about. MasterCard just recently did something brilliant. They did a campaign called #InternsWanted. That campaign was asking all of the millennials out there to send a resume via social, whether it was LinkedIn, Tumblr, a WordPress website, a Facebook fan page, a Twitter account, something innovative via social, and submit it to their #InternsWanted hashtag and at MasterCard. And they were going to pick some of the most innovative interns to have a paid internship for the summer at MasterCard. So one, it got the millennials to be creative. The millennials didn't have to make their resume as good as they possibly can and submit the resume and hope that someone at HR read the resume. They got to be creative. They got to do something unique. They got to use something outside. They got to do something outside of the box to show their creativity and what creative skill set they have, as well as what they look like on paper. #InternsWanted got millions of impressions, and it was trending at one time, and it made the millennials talk about MasterCard. I mean, I don't have many conversations with my friends about MasterCard or Amex or Wells Fargo. You know, it's not the most sexy of topics, but because MasterCard was empowering this generation with an intern opportunity that was also paid, that allowed them to be collaborative and also show their creative ability, that rocked the millennials' world. Also, the coolest thing that MasterCard did because of this campaign was 2 of the interns that they selected, they actually ended up giving jobs to at the end of the summer. So that user-generated content, that word-of-mouth interaction from the millennial and the brand just made MasterCard so cool. So cool, so trendy, so hip, so innovative, so collaborative, and in tune to what this generation is asking for and craving. Work-life balance. I remember being young. My mom is here from Florida. I remember being young, and my parents were the most incredible role models for working hard. My dad wouldn't come home until 10 o'clock at night because he was building his medical practice. My mom was his secretary, making sure everything happened, as well as driving me and my brother to every activity while cooking and getting food on the table. I mean, I had great role models for what work was. Would I say that there was a work-life balance? No. My dad didn't have a life. He didn't. My dad didn't have a life until I was about 13 years old, and then I got to hang out with him on the weekends. Millennials grew up in a time where our parents worked so hard to get what they have today, which I think that's amazing, and that also instilled some work ethic within this generation. But because this generation has resources at their fingertips, like our computer, like our tablets, like our smartphone, where we can possibly do work from home or do work on vacation, we want to be able to have a work-life balance. That is incredibly important to this generation. It might feed into this entitled stereotype. However, this is what the millennial generation is asking for. The millennial generation, a millennial in the workplace will not work 9 to 10 willingly at night unless they think it's super valuable to them. They have acknowledgments. They know that there's advancement opportunities. There has to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Work-life balance is absolutely huge. My boyfriend Jordan works in corporate marketing for Ibis World Inc. They gave each employee an option to go from 9 to 5 or 8 to 6. No, 8 to 5 or 9 to 6. So they gave everybody the opportunity for what time block they wanted to create within the work environment. The first day my boyfriend came home from that job, I said, how was it? He said, how cool that they're letting us pick 9 to 6 or 8 to 5. And I was like, okay, but how was it? The fact that they allowed him to have that flexibility and that control over his schedule every day meant the world to him. The work-life flexibility is something so important to instill into a corporate culture, and millennials will seek so much value in the workplace that they feel like they have an opportunity to create somewhat of their schedule. Group work environment. Anybody have a group work environment currently where everyone's kind of out in the open, there's no office? Millennials love a group work environment. I think Google kind of was the trendsetter for a collaborative work environment. The whole day of someone going into that office, and not engaging and communicating with each other, millennials don't really like that. Millennials love to engage. They love to collaborate. They love to feel like they could talk to the person at any time. I mean, we grew up in an age where we were posting what we had for breakfast our entire life. So if we can't ask a question instantly within the workplace or seek inspiration from someone else instantly within the workplace, they get a little frustrated. A group environment, a collaborative, open work environment is something that the millennials absolutely love. Mentorship programs. I think this is the most important one. A lot of millennials who come into the workplace, and I saw this so much within our Twitter chat, said that they came into the workplace and people who were Gen Xers and baby boomers did not want to partake in the millennial. They did not want anything to do with the millennial, and they immediately labeled and stereotyped the millennial as, oh no, we have another one. Instead of embracing the millennial, saying, hey, I know that I could learn from you, and I know that you could definitely learn from me. Let's work together. The millennials totally want to seek mentors. Whenever we have a networking Twitter chat, whenever we have a workplace Twitter chat, one of the biggest things that I see within the hour of the Twitter chat is networking happening within the Twitter feed to try to attain a mentor in the workplace. Millennials are so appreciative of generations prior, erasing the stereotypes pertaining to this generation and getting to know us, asking us questions. I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say that a millennial could definitely teach their parents or a Gen Xer or a baby boomer a thing or two about social media. I mean, I'm begging my mom to get a laptop. Millennials definitely want to infuse social media into the workplace. And this isn't for entertainment as much as you would think. It's actually because they want to enhance the brand's notoriety via social media, because the way to spread awareness today, the fastest way to spread awareness today, is via social platforms. And there is such a way to do it in a branded way for every single brand on the planet, whether you're a small business, big business, feminine hygiene product, or MasterCard, that you can enhance your social awareness, build your brand loyalty, attract millennial employees because of your social footprint, because of your digital footprint. And millennials understand the power of social media because we're so influenced by it and want to bring it into the workplace. And the fact that millennials grew up with it, we would love to teach a thing or two to people who have been in that workplace for years and years already, or Gen Xers and baby boomers who are not so familiar with certain ways to use social media to their advantage. So you may be scared of that new millennial in the workplace, but I promise you, if you go up to them and start asking them questions, they are going to be so appreciative that you actually gave them the time of day. We really want to prove to generations older that we don't fall under the stereotype of entitled, lazy, and narcissistic. We want to work hard, we want to achieve our goals, and we want to make sure that there's advancement within the workplace. And here's some more tweets about how people were what people really value in the workplace. Being appreciated is huge for millennials. Flexibility was the tweet prior. Potential for advancement, livable salary. I mean, these were all mentorships and inclusion in the future. I mean, these are all tweets that I've extracted from our Twitter chat about what makes millennials happy in the workplace. Brand loyalty. We're changing gears here. Brand loyalty is huge. I mean, every brand wants to know how to attract the millennial consumer, being that we're the largest population on the planet, 80 million people. Here's a few things that make us loyal to a certain brand. Feedback. Millennials are so engaged. We so want to feel that there is a two-way conversation. If a brand is posting things up there and they're not interacting with some of the reviews or the comments or the questions, they will immediately not become loyal to the brand. A brand that has feedback or engages in their consumer or engages in their social follower is that much more likely to gain that millennial as a loyal consumer. Feedback is everything. It should always be a two-way conversation. Be mobile friendly. The fact that millennials are on their mobile devices a lot more than their laptops and tablets, is even on the weekends after the workday ends, we're most likely to get our first impression of your brand or your website via mobile. So if your website's not mobile friendly, and if it doesn't load within 3 seconds, I know it's a little harsh, 3 seconds, the average millennial is going to tap out and never come back to your website. So take the time to make sure that your brand is represented well on the website and that it is mobile friendly. Social conversations. Every brand, every small business, every startup, every big business should have social platforms. Whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Pinterest. There should be social conversations going around pertaining to your brand. The social conversations is what builds the community, extends your digital footprint, creates more impressions about your brand, and attracts more loyalty amongst the millennials. Less brand plugging. I know this sounds kind of weird, being that you're a brand, you obviously want to show and promote the things that you have going on. There is a fine line between plugging, and engaging. Of course you have to plug and you have to promote the brand, but every time you are promoting something new, make sure that you're generating conversation around that new endeavor. Make sure that you're asking conversations and feedback from your consumers about how to make it better, what they like and what they don't like, and how you can improve the things that they don't like. If a millennial feels that you actually care about what they value within that product, brand, they are going to be so much more loyal to your brand. Be charitable. This goes back to corporate social responsibility. And I was just on, anyone heard of Fusion Network with Alicia Mendez? Alicia Mendez just invited me on her show because she said, are brands just supposed to, create something out of thin air and have some sort of charitable endeavor and make the millennials happy? Absolutely not. Millennials are incredibly transparent. We love authenticity, and we really read through the BS. Align your brand, your product, your organization, your business with a social issue that, of course, makes sense to the company, and see what you could do to be charitable within that social issue. And that's a way to plug something that you're doing in a charitable way instead of just promoting that next best product that you want everyone to buy. Discounts. Discounts are 79% of millennials said that discounts and any loyalty programs that a brand could offer to their consumer makes them that much more loyal to the brand. Millennials are struggling to get by. The average millennial makes under $50,000, and 1 in 10 millennials makes $100,000. We really are strapped, and we're very savvy in saving, and being that we have so many resources available to us, we are going to investigate other options. If those shoes are $300, I know that I could probably find them elsewhere for less money. So loyalty programs, discounts within your brand, organization, product, when of course doable, a millennial will really appreciate and come back. Engage in online conversation. We've been talking about online conversation. Millennials spend at least 25 hours per week online, and I think that's actually pretty low. I think we actually spend more. 70% recommend their favorite brands to family and friends. 47% wrote a good experience online. We really want to, I always say to brands, millennials could be your best publicist or your worst nightmare, because we are so eager to promote the things that we really see value in. This is such a great chart. Facebook, 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., Twitter, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Know where your target audience is on social, when and where, and engage with them during that time. I did a social experiment because I was like, really, does that make such a difference? I posted a picture within these time brackets on every single social outlet here, and I saw at least 20 more likes than when I did it on a time that it wasn't on this chart. Understand your target audience, understand the female to male demographic, they do make a difference, and engage with them during that time. It will make a difference. Reward millennials and they will reward you. Okay, I'm sure we've all heard of the trophy generation. Millennials are the trophy generation. I'm feeding into this stereotype right now. Millennials love to be rewarded. We do. You know, everyone was a winner within this generation. We also understand that there are no's and that not everyone could be a winner, but when you reward them, we will reward you tenfold. How so? Create a relatable voice via Twitter. Twitter, I think, is one of the most powerful social outlets. It's called microblogging social because you could get such an incredible message out with 140 characters instead of actually creating a 3-page article these days. And you could tease the millennial to actually wanting more from those 140 characters and, you know, take them to your blog, take them to your website, take them to your video. JetBlue is a phenomenal example of a brand that has created a conversational dialogue within their social network. Every time that I tweet at JetBlue, thank you so much for the great ride, with a picture of, you know, me actually sitting in the seat or the wing or a window shot, they say, thanks for coming back, Chelsea. That recognition makes me want to ride on JetBlue. That recognition to any other millennial makes them feel that they're valued as a customer and makes them become that much more loyal. Target an audience and create a creative way to connect with your users. I love this example. Taco Bell. Taco Bell, not the healthiest of choices, however, brilliant in marketing. Taco Bell is trending almost once a month. Taco Bell really targeted a small demographic within their audience because a lot of people, obviously, of generations eat Taco Bell. They tapped into the up-and-coming actresses and models that are beautiful, that have a big social following, and will engage in their following, and know that they engage in their following all day, every day. So what Taco Bell did was they sent an X amount of up-and-coming actresses and models engagement rings and packets of hot sauce saying, "Will you marry me?" I know, people are looking at me like I'm crazy. Every model and actress that received this put on the engagement ring and took 1 million pictures promoting this endeavor that literally Taco Bell sent them engagement rings and hot sauce, and it was trending within the next hour, "Will you marry me, Taco Bell?" It's just a small example, a very creative example, because who really thinks of fast food and engagement rings? You know, you have to be innovative. You have to think outside the box. So what's going to get people talking? What's going to make people want to post that picture? What's going to make people say, "What do you mean, marry me, Taco Bell?" and then click into that link to see what's going on? Taco Bell is at a fantastic marketing. They are so brilliant in their marketing because they get people talking. Personalize the customer experience. This one's super important. Everybody know Marc Jacobs, of course. I absolutely love Marc Jacobs. Earlier this year, Marc Jacobs did a pop-up shop. Everyone know what a pop-up shop is? Limited time storefront. This pop-up shop was in Soho in New York City, and the hashtag was MJ Daisy Chain, and they did something so brilliant within this pop-up shop. They used social currency. Social currency meaning that whenever somebody walked into that pop-up shop and was tweeting pictures using the hashtag MJ Daisy Chain about the products and the perfume and the lipsticks, they got to walk out of the pop-up shop with big swag bags because the social currency was the person taking the picture and uploading it using the hashtag. No one had to spend $1 or a dime when walking out of that pop-up shop because they instead used social currency. Marc Jacobs realized that the amount of impressions and extending that digital footprint around this hashtag was more beneficial than actually having customers pay for their product because they generated millions and millions of impressions. And everybody was talking about this pop-up shop. Mashable wrote a story, TechCrunch wrote a story. This was trending for so long. I went to Adweek, I went to the PCPC convention, and people were talking about MJ Daisy Chain's social currency pop-up shop. Reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's really showing the power of social influence. It's really showing the power of extending that digital footprint. The power of impressions just continues to spread your brand awareness. And when a millennial hears, what, I don't have to pay for product? They love that. And they're going to be that much more loyal to figure out when the next pop-up shop is and go. All right, guys. Crowdsourcing is everything. Utilize your social following, utilize your followers, utilize your fans to crowdsource feedback to better your product. Doritos crashed a Super Bowl commercial. Everybody heard of this or not? Doritos for 7 years now, around the time of the Super Bowl, asked for people to send in edited, produced commercials from their fans, from their followers, and they pick their favorite commercial, and it airs during the Super Bowl. You get your commercial aired on the Super Bowl. And then on top of getting your commercial aired during the Super Bowl, you win $1 million. This is crowdsourcing at its finest. And I know that not every brand can afford to do that. However, it's just the power of crowdsourcing at its finest, and it shows how really important it is to crowdsource your target demographic via social, because the amount of things that you could learn from your following, from your fans, is only going to enhance your brand for the better. And that's exactly what we do every Tuesday night with Millennial Talk Twitter chat. I'm crowdsourcing from the millennial generation every Tuesday night during our hour-long Twitter chat from what they want to know, what they want to learn, what experts they want on the show, and I'm feeding it right back to them. And because I'm understanding what makes them tick, empowering them with great information, and then actually responding to their feedback, they come back week after week after week. Allow your following, allow your fans to dictate some of the things that you do within the marketing of your brand, and also what you do for empowering this generation for the better. This generation will tell you what they like, they will tell you what they don't like. You just have to give them the opportunity. For any questions, email here. Thank you so much for listening to a millennial like me. Thank you so much.